the Innovation and Technology Transfer Office. The event is organized by the Innovation and Technology Transfer Office of Athena Research and Innovation Center and is intended for researchers, spin-offs, startups and SMEs from the Greek innovation ecosystem. I will be your moderator for today. My name is Christos Vaitsis and I'm the head of the Office of Innovation and Technology Transfer at Athena. And I'm very happy, and we have the pleasure to have today the three program managers of European Innovation Council. Thank you very much for joining us and for accepting my invitation. Iordanis Archimanoglou, responsible for health and biotechnology in European Innovation Council. Thank you, Iordanis. Marco Antonio Pantaleo and Francesco Mattiucci for energy systems and green technologies, environment and energy. Thank you also, Francesco, and I think Marco is probably coming right now. Before we start, I would like to invite our President and General Director of Athena Research and Innovation Center, Professor Ioannis Emiris, for a short salutation from his side.
Hello, everybody. I'm very glad to be here and to introduce this webinar. I'm Ioannis Emiris. I'm heading Athena Research Center. Very proud to be at the helm of this organization right now. We are a research center dedicated to informatics, computational science, telecoms, data, AI, new technologies around computer science, in a word, and many applications that emanate from that. So exactly because we are focused on computer science, we are also very interested in applications that take a very wide range, starting from culture, civilization, language, medical, sustainable development, robotics, and so on. Recently, we are seeing the expansion of our center to new domains. So we are deepening our involvement in other domains like AI recently and data science. So I think EIC is an ideal framework for this kind of work because it covers the range of activities that start with research, go all the way up to innovation, and our center is very eager to promote innovation among our researchers. We've had startups, we've had successful exits in the past. And moreover, EIC is useful because it supports the implementation of such ideas, but also has an aspect on policy. We have three amazing speakers today that will let us know about all that, and I'm looking forward to their presentations. Thanks to all three of them for accepting the invitation. And I'm sure we'll learn a lot, and I hope to keep the contact for the future. Thanks again, and looking forward to the meeting.
Thank you very much. Next, I would like to, we have also the pleasure today to have together with us the head of cabinet of Deputy Minister of Development and Investments in Research, Technology and Innovation, Mr. Michalis Dritsas, which I would like to invite also for a short salutation.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for your kind invitation. On behalf of the Deputy Minister for responsible for research and innovation, I would like to congratulate you on this initiative because we all need to gain more in-depth information on the opportunities opened by the Horizon Europe and especially EIC programs. Greece historically has a quite good performance in Horizon programs. We rank at a quite good position, I think 8th, 9th position or 10th sometimes. But I would like also to admit that in terms of the third pillar, which is for EIC, our performance is not that good. And we anticipate that in the new programming period, we will have better results. The Greek government has taken some serious steps in terms of bridging the excellent research performed in Greece with innovation and entrepreneurship. We have established a new startup database, which includes also the spin-offs. We have a new legislation for spin-off formation and growth. We have programs to support the innovation transfer in the technology transfer offices. So we hope and we envisage that in the next years we will see more and more Greek success stories in the EIC program. Thank you very much.
Thank you also. Thank you very much. Before we start, just a note to all attendees and participants: the event will be recorded and also will be posted afterwards at the YouTube channel of Athena Research Center. You will all receive a link. If you have registered for the event, you will all receive a link right after the event. Again, to remind the structure, there will be 2 presentations followed 20 minutes each, and each one will have a Q&A session right after for 15 minutes. And one and only house rule is that you can only post your questions using the Q&A button that you see at the bottom of your screen. And we will make our best in the limited 15 minutes to read as much as possible of them and direct them to the program managers of EIC. You probably see also a raise hand button. Please do not use this button because the number of participants is quite high and it's impossible to accommodate live questions. But please use the Q&A button for this purpose, and we'll read the questions in the Q&A session. From myself, I would like now to give the word to the program managers and just say that it's really a pleasure for us to have you all today. Thank you again for doing this and for giving the opportunity to the Greek innovation ecosystem. The program managers have the mission on behalf of EIC to develop visions for innovation and technology breakthroughs and steer the portfolios of projects to achieve the goals of EIC. They are a high level of expertise in their field with many years of experience in all sides of the knowledge triangle. And I think, Jordanis, we can start with you and your topic. So I give the word to you if you would like to start.
Thank you, Christos. It's a pleasure. Good morning to everybody. It's a pleasure to join this meeting. I'd like to thank the President Emeritus of Athena Research Center, and of course you, Christos. You have been a very energetic the catalyst of this event. For me, it's a special interest, particular interest, I would say, because the first time I speak to the Greek audience, the Greek innovation community, I'm particularly happy about that. I'm also pleased that the head of cabinet, Mr. Drizas, is present here. These are all strong indications of the commitment of the responsible deputy minister for innovation of something will move on, because yes, it's true, as Mr. Drizas says, we need to do better. And also my understanding is, I'm very also pleased that this audience today, it exceeds Athena, which means that you have done a very good job, and also there is interest in learning about new initiatives for which we all have aspirations. Let me try to share my, the difficult thing, to share my screen. So we'll be talking today with my colleagues, of course, about EIC in general, but I will also focus on my second part on the health and biotech activity and support funding and non-funding that can be given to those who apply and who compete for this funding and for the support as well. So you will see that most of what you will hear is complementary, and if there is limited information that is repeated under a different information package or different details in a way. But this is for you to see, and we'll try to cover as much as possible, because there's a lot going on with the European Innovation Council, which is part of a new agency called ESMEA. Let me walk you through a little bit of the list of contents. What I'll present it for you is, of course, the 3 financial instruments that we have. That's how the organization is, the European Innovation Council is structured based on these financial instruments. Pathfinder Transition Accelerator. A few words about the evaluation schemes. All this is published, so there is no reason to invest a lot of time in that. We will focus along with my colleagues, on our role. What is a program manager? What is that we do? What are main activities? How we do it? The strategic intelligence that we're increasingly putting into the picture of EIC, and we want to work based on strategic intelligence a lot. Why is that? What purposes does it serve? I'll give you one or two examples of how we're trying to build the European Innovation Council Statistic Intelligence, and then only the last part of my presentation will focus on the activities in the health and biotech portfolio of EIC. So the organization, it had a pilot phase. The board term ended in earlier this year. There is a new board now in place with people that they have, different kinds of expertise, senior people that will help us and guide us through this the undertakings and mission that we have. And there's going to be a new president for the first time, full time in the organization. Very briefly, there is a considerable budget for EIC to invest in the coming years. We consider EIC as a unique organization exactly because it can cover from very early stages of breakthrough research to scaled up companies. Now that we can also provide blended finance. So it covers a wide range of activity in research and innovation. And there is a fund on board, and there is a portfolio approach, challenge goals, all that are new, and we will try to describe to you. First of all, the Pathfinder Scheme. We have challenges, which is targeted funding, and we have a bottom-up approach, which is called when you have a call open for different disciplines, for people from different disciplines to apply. You can see here that the grants can go up to 3 to 4 million. And you can see here that the targeted funding, the outcomes, the portfolio of projects that is the outcome of the challenge goals is managed by what is called program managers. We are here to explain all that and discuss all that with you. One very quick thing about the open calls is that what we consider as a new thing is that you have the possibility to argue the evaluation by the first group of remote evaluators. We call it the rebuttal phase. This is new, and that's why I have it in this slide. And then the new committee is established by experts, which takes into account the first part of evaluation and the arguments of the applicants, and then you come with a new verdict. And this is the new thing, which creates more credibility and more objectivity, we believe, and want you to know. That concerns the open part. Concerning the challenge part, the part that we select specific areas that we want to attract applications from potential grantees. It has a different scheme of evaluation. The first part is done by external evaluators, but the second part is being taken care by a committee. What you see it written here is a portfolio evaluation committee, which is chaired by the program manager, to get to the point where you create a portfolio, which is a set of projects with a lot of coherence and a lot of shared objectives. There are other types of funding, beyond the other types of opportunities that one can enjoy as a grantee of EIC, and these are listed in this slide. First of all, as a Pathfinder grantee, you can of course apply for the next phase, which is the transition. You can also go to what is called a fast track if you meet some criteria that are also recommended by the program manager. You can get the accelerator phase. You can enjoy the business acceleration services. That is very important. A lot of information that the Pathfinder grantee can get if he wants to continue and take the innovation journey. And of course, there are some ad hoc grants that can be given as well. The transition, the next instrument, again, you see the very main characteristics. All that will stay with you, so you can have it. I don't want to spend a lot of time. Slight difference in the amount of grants that are given, and also you have two possibilities: the open calls and the challenge calls. And the importance here, the transition is a new scheme, is exactly because it stands on the borderline of where you have the proof of concept of the research, and you want to go to start. You want to prove that you can really create an innovation based on this research. And there are some other conditions that need to be met for the projects from either the Pathfinder of EIC or the ERC, which is the proof of concept of the European Research Council this time. For the time being, there are only 2 those, but we will extend that to other eligible, outside of these 2 groups applicants, and this is for the future. And an important element is the IP status. You don't have to own it, but of course, you need to have the right to use it. In terms of accelerator, a few words. Everything can be found, of course, in the literature and can be found on site if you want details. It's the first step is continuously open for people who want to try their luck and share their idea with us. And also here you have open calls primarily, but you also have some focused areas. They're not as focused as in the previous instruments that you heard, but we're working on that. And you have the possibilities to get funding, as you can see right here, only grant or grant only and grant first. These are the different schemes that we provide. As I said, I don't want to get into that because you can find all that information to save us time. You can see here listed the different steps of the evaluation process of somebody who wants to apply to EIC Accelerator. And the very first step, that's all I'm going to say, is continuously open, so somebody can share his idea, her idea with us, and then take the different steps along the way, prepare the business plan, the full down, go to the jury, and if he's successful, to be invited to pitch in front of the jury. The first statistics from Greece, and this is my colleagues will share with you statistics from the Pathfinder. But as Mr. Dritsa said this morning, we're not doing quite well in terms of accelerator. Greece is performing poorly, and I'm sure that things will go much better in the future. You can see the number here, and actually what you see written is in the period when our pilot phase started. So there is poor performance by Greece in the accelerator. And that sends a strong signal. We're good in research, but we need to do something with it. Let me now turn to what the program managers do. I have 3 key elements, 3 main activities that we take care of in this slide. That, of course, we oversee the thematic sector we're responsible for across financial instruments. Second thing is that we work hard using strategic intelligence and a lot of reading and a lot of expertise from other people that we are connected with in order to be on top of what's happening in the industry and academia, in order to be able to find areas that there is interest to develop what is called the challenge calls. And then, of course, when we have the outcome of the challenge calls, we have we manage projects, as I said before, the new concept called portfolio, which is a set of projects with shared objectives as outcome of this challenge call. Some of the guiding principles, how we work, not getting into the details again, and this is that we want areas where there is sufficient evidence of disruptive nature, disruptive innovation potential, if you will, not just pure research. We also are not overly influenced by what we have, because we're a high-risk, high-gain organization, and we want to also be able to fund new areas. But at the same time, there has to be some activity in the industry, because we are an innovation organization. We want to really invest in breakthrough research, but the research that has the potential for application, has the potential to be developed to something useful, has the potential to be developed to future products, innovative products, and create what we call innovative entrepreneurship. And also we try to avoid areas that are heavily, really heavily funded by other DGs and agencies. There are many, many other programs that, of course, for obvious reasons, like epidemics or monitoring or countermeasures for COVID, we're trying to avoid those areas. We want to get into more niche areas which are emerging. 2 things are illustrated here, is that the program manager, in order to use all in the best of his knowledge, he has to have a look in the industry and in the academia in order to be able to suggest the first picks that he would think to the best of his knowledge are areas to be explored further for the development of challenge and then challenge calls, which means to ask applicants to apply for those areas. So we work with proprietary databases, we work with contacts, we work with people that we know around the world. We need to be really up to the new developments from whenever they may come to us, and that requires quite an effort and quite a study, understanding what are the developments, the breakthrough research developments, or the trends in the industry that are relevant for what we want to do. Allow me to take 1 minute for this slide. This it's a schematic representation, illustration of what is the process of what we do when performing our main task, which is to be able to develop these topics, because we think these are important for the future European autonomy. These are areas that, if are funded, there is critical mass, or we can contribute to the creation. Actually, we contribute to the creation of the critical mass that will give a relative degree of independence and autonomy in these nucleuses around Europe, developing technologies that we want to have for societal and economic reasons. Excuse me. So you see that I'd like to point to the middle tab that I have here, and you can see that we are using, and we did that for the first time, when we develop our first ideas, we argue and debate those ideas with external experts that we know, but experts that are asked to tell us their opinion. We do that, we take that very seriously, and we do that professionally. These people argue with us on live discussions, whether what we think is correct or incorrect, and we take into account our arguments. And we do that before any interaction with the member states or with other DGs within the Commission, which is a known practice for many years. So this new step, debating our choices as scientists to other scientists, is something that we strongly believe it adds credibility to EIC. We don't know, to our knowledge, other people how they do it, but we are improving it, and we are very serious about that, and it's a very difficult task for us. But once we are through with that, we are more certain and highly more confident that we have selected areas that may have the potential for Europe. And you can see also in this representation, now I'm getting back to my field, that, for instance, I work in the sector that you see here, health biotechnology. The thematic areas, the big thematic areas, some categories that we are working on are indicated in this slide, and we have already a call ongoing. It's in the final stage of evaluation. One of these areas, cell and gene therapy. Another area that it's quite broad, and we're considering, and of course many other really, synthetic biology with edges applications, cross-sectorial. And then you can see the three levels. The third level is that within the area, it's good to be able to pinpoint one topic that you think you have the good arguments, scientific and innovation arguments, that has a future and needs to be supported. And those two examples are given here. I won't say more because in the audience there are many people not from the biosector. But I wanted to show you the slides. How do we go from the sector to thematic areas, to categories, to the topics? And as I said, all this is, after it's being developed by us, it's debated with external experts, senior experts from the industry and academia. When we use strategic intelligence, we use it primarily for two purposes: to support our beneficiaries and to select our challenges, what I just described to you. And in the next slides, you see, you can, if one wants to see how we do strategic intelligence, you can see it in this recorded presentation, where two of our beneficiaries, one from the Pathfinder stage, another from the accelerator level, they talk with two experts from the biomanufacturing and the bioinvestment world, and they really challenge them, and this interaction is based on strategic intelligence, and they ask the hard questions to them, and this progressively is what we want to achieve by what we call as the non-funding support by EIC, which we're taking very seriously, and we're going to expand that, is a real support to our beneficiaries to get to the next level, or to solve their problems, or to really tackle hurdles along the way. I'll give you a logic, 2-3 minutes. When we decide about an area, for instance, this case, this particular cell and gene therapy, the reason that we go for this area before we get to the debate with the experts are the serious challenges that this area has been having for 30 years. And these challenges are safety, in vivo efficacy, manufacturing, just to understand. And we want to tackle, we want to contribute to what needs to be done to improve those areas, because cell and gene therapy concerns the entire world, is the major trend right now in health across the world. And if it wasn't for the COVID, everybody would talk about cell and gene therapy. So you can see here that we don't stay at the first level of the big categories of challenges, but we go even deeper. This is all for you to demonstrate how we work in EIC. So within one particular major challenge, manufacturing, in this concerning this area, we go down to scalability, to cost effectiveness, to advanced analytics, to accessibility, things that have been also heard by the post-COVID era and all that. And these are the challenges that we want to fight. And these are the challenges on which we're going to build our challenge call for people to address those in order to contribute to the innovation, the research and innovation community in cell and gene therapy. And that's how we responded so far as EIC. The call that is already, of course, out and is under the last stage of evaluation. It's a challenge call, and it's at the panel level, the panel committee level of evaluation. You see that the areas that we are targeting are very narrow, very specific, and that is for you to share our philosophy and our strategy, that we don't go generally, but we really target areas for which we think these are main elements for Europe to enhance and reinforce its competence in a specific area that is a world trend in the bio world. And the second thing that we did in this particular area, we organized a meeting and having brought there the elite of European scientists and innovators in June 2021. And you can read about this event where indeed it was organized. It was the first ever event between European Innovation Council and European Research Council. And we're quite proud of that, because this is going to be just the beginning of a series of other workshops on areas that are key for Europe. Maybe I'm gonna, for the people from the health and bio sector, I will say the next few slides is only indicative to say, to give you examples of projects. I will only mention the title or the area if you want. For instance, here, these are new drug delivery systems that we have projects already on board, and the categorization of projects in this area, it sets already the basis for to create in the future, of course, with collaboration with organizations. We want to support the community that works on what is called extracellular vesicles, which is there is some activity in Europe, but needs to be reinforced. And why we do that? Because we believe that in drug discovery, this is an area that will play a role. Another example is here when we have projects in the area of disease modeling, of 3D bioprinting, using technologies, and we try to gather projects, and we have projects in this area. This particular round concerns one pancreas, but could be from other tissues as well, from other organs. So the modeling, the disease modeling using these new systems is another niche area for us, that we want to create portfolios of projects that will be managed together for a common goal. Third example, I'm sure you all have heard, is with the COVID about new mRNA. We are working with, we have projects already that are developing synthetic mRNA, which is, with very, very new methodologies. And this is because we need to have all these approaches as mRNA is getting outside of COVID, gets into cancer, gets into all diseases. So synthetic biology behind mRNA is another selection from us. Also industrial schemes. In this case, we are talking about biocatalytic enzymes. These are all, again, I'm sorry for those that are not from the biofield. This is for you to understand our logic in selecting, grouping, creating portfolios, having always in our radar to reinforce the community's research innovation in order to get what we want, which is the autonomy of Europe in certain of these areas to be competitive worldwide. Another example from Tcells that probably can understand from people outside health, because Tcells are hurt so much with COVID, but a new approaches, subgroup of Tcells that may be crucial for the immunological response of human beings. We focus on that too. Finally, I'd like to give you maybe this is just a breakdown of projects in cancer. Let me close with this slide. That are the different groups that of projects and activity we have in health, just for your information, just to see that it is a broad coverage, but at the same time is very narrow, very targeted for all those that I described for you. I'll be happy if there are any questions or more details on that. Thank you. I'll stop here and open to questions.
Thank you very much, Jordanis. Thank you for the presentation and the very important information. I can go and read the questions posted by the audience. First question is, can one apply to the EIC transition program without participating previously in the EIC Pathfinder if we have done already the proof of concept?
Yes, I think the slide answers that. For the time being, as I said, we're going to change that in the future. Only Pathfinder who are eligible are the people who are Pathfinder grantees or people who are from the EIC with what is called the POC, the proof of concept. This will change in the future. I can't say exactly when, but definitely it will become more open to others as well.
Great. The next question is, how many Greek companies applied for the SME instrument in 2021?
My colleagues will talk about SM instrument. There is no longer SM instrument. I unfortunately at the accelerator level, I showed my slide. The information they got, there is none was successful, and that was really a little bit how can I say, unbelievable also for me to see that, but we can change that. Details about the successes, the Greek successes, or the Greek yes, the Greek success in Pathfinder, you will hear from my colleagues. Well, on purpose, we did that so for them be complementary on that.
Okay. The next question, I think, is related to the point you mentioned that you are advising external experts for the challenges and so on. So the question is, how do you find the external experts?
We are not advising. We are getting advice from external experts. It's different. This is something that we tried for the first time this year. The external experts come from our network, personal network, because we lived and ran our career before we joined the IC outside. So we know people, we have worked with people. I also worked in the US for years. So we know people in both sides of the Atlantic, all my colleagues and I. And we also use the contacts of our contacts as well in order to get to senior level expertise that we may want for a particular topic. As I said, this is something, there are firms, professional firms that they perform what is called business innovation intelligence, and you can hire them as that. And they have powerful entities. What we try to achieve here is to build strategic intelligence in-house. Why? For two reasons. We have in our radar what's happening in Europe. That's our privilege to know many things. We can interact with other agencies and DGs in the Commission and get a lot of information. And at the same time, we have many contacts in the industry and in academia, and that gets enriched along the way. And of course, it's very difficult, but when you scout and you screen, you can find the right persons to get an opinion that is credible on a particular topic.
Great. And I think that answers also the next question, which was, how do you select external experts? Is there a standard procedure then? Do you want to add something, Jordanis?
No, there is no standard procedure. We want to bring, I'll give you an example. We used a person that was not very known to me from the US Naval Research Office. And I was amazed to find after 30 years career that what the US Naval Research Office, which is not military research, what they do, that they have 25 program managers and they work across the world. And they are developing the latest technologies concerning many fields. Of course, I was interested primarily in the bio area. And we invited one of their program managers to give us an opinion on some of the areas that I showed to you earlier. That was very new to us. That is probably very new to the people in the field, but you can find the right people if you really look for them or if they come to you through other contacts.
Great, thank you. The next question is, can projects selected for Pathfinder Open be included in the portfolio of program managers?
When you take projects from the open, you categorize them. That's what we do. And then if there is a portfolio already formed as an outcome of a challenge call, and you find a good match in the categories, in one of the categories that is relevant to that portfolio from, as I said, as an outcome of the open call, of course, you will move this project to work together with others for obvious reasons. It's going to be the mutual benefit of this project and of the portfolio. Actually, this is the idea. The idea of the challenge call is that you have all these stringent criteria that in a way they guarantee to you to a certain extent. And if they don't guarantee, they really make it more certain that the group of projects in a portfolio, and I'm taking a few seconds to repeat that, is the new concept. They have what is called shared objectives. So they can be managed based either on a common technological approach or on other shared objectives, not simply because they're in the same field or they're targeting the same tissue. We need more than that. So one project, to answer the question, that is in one of the thematic categorization as a result of an open call, of course, if it's relevant, will be moved to the portfolio and to benefit from what is happening in the portfolio.
Great. Next question is, which is the required technology readiness level, TRL, for the proposals?
This is all written. This is all written in very details. To say now that this TRL 1 to 3 to 4 is Pathfinder or 4 to 6 in transition, this is all written in our documents on site.
Perfect. Next question, what about the support for biosensing field?
Biosensors, you mean, or
biosensing?
Yes, there is support, a lot of support, and we have a lot of medical technology which is taken care by my colleague program manager, Enrique Laverol, who does all the medical technology and medical devices. So we have a lot because we have inherited many projects from other agencies that they have focused on medical technologies exceedingly to sometimes to unprecedented. So we have a lot of activity on medical technologies and medical devices, including biosensors.
Perfect. And the last question from the audience, do you have any focus on a specific infectious disease in the diagnostic sector?
When to answer this question, if we have any focus, we may have a focus. However, it has to be understood that's a very good question. The European Commission, the European Union has launched new agencies like HADEA, where there's a lot of activity, and HERA, and the ACDC. So I think it's a good opportunity to say that it would be nice as an background information for people coming from my field, to be more informed about the developments that are happening at the European level, meaning that we have now, HERA was introduced exactly trying to empower Europe, looking at what another agent that BARDA, which the US has, and is taking care of manufacturing space and support when you want to develop a new vaccine for any disease, I'm talking about for any infectious diseases. So there is a lot of agencies, is the answer, that are supporting heavily infectious diseases or countermeasures against COVID for obvious reasons, or epidemiological studies. If it is to go for a specific infectious disease, answering the question, it would be not in this direction, but it would be for a breakthrough, for instance, new therapeutic scheme, or for a breakthrough, very quick point of care diagnostic that would make the difference, or a combination of the two. I'm just trying to give you, for them to understand, all the standard, as I said, all the standard work concerning infectious diseases, which is getting broader and broader. And I'm talking outside of COVID right now. The pandemics are here to stay. This has been taken care of by other organizations. For us, is the high risk, high gain, cutting edge, something very new, a new therapeutic for something more specific. That is something that would be interesting. There is nothing, I don't have a name right now to say it's, for instance, Ebola and this particular thing, or it's Zika virus.
But it needs to be something very disruptive, of course.
Exactly, thank you. Very disruptive, particular needs that where you need, yes, a lot of breakthrough research.
All right, and I think there is another question right now. Have the EIC learned all lessons in deep integrating these new calls For example, learning and scaling forwards with all the previous project outcomes and especially the project results. Please post your questions in the Q&As using the Q&A button.
Could you please repeat the question just to understand?
Yes.
What
has the council learned all lessons and deeply integrate in these new goals? For example, learning and scaling forwards with all the previous projects outcomes and especially the project results.
The EIC has inherited projects from other agencies. For instance, has inherited lots of projects in the medtech area from DG Connect, and so that comes with knowledge of how these things from the previous projects like FED Proactive, FED Top, and those projects. We have all the knowledge of having run those projects and the problems they face. Actually, I would argue that and say we have too much knowledge of that. And maybe this is, as I said in one of my slides, where we need to know that, but not to be overly involved in that. Excuse me. So yes, we know. The answer is yes, we know.
Yeah, good. Thanks. I think we have one more minute, and I also had a question.
Please go ahead, please.
Yes, I'm aware about the collaboration between the European Innovation Council and the European Institute of Innovation and Technology. Is there something to mention in that perspective? Because, for example, from my previous position in EIT Health, we had some programs like the Gold Track and different programs that you can get help, and then you're considered valid to go to a next step of evaluation directly for a program in European Innovation Council. The
question indicates that you're experienced in the field. Absolutely, yes. There is a lot of, first of all, there's a memorandum of understanding between the two institutions. It took us some time to get there. There is activity at different levels between the two institutions. I am, for instance, my colleague and I were in the selection committee of their EIT Catapult. I'm sitting on the advisory board of the Catapult this year. There is activity. EIT grantees can now apply fast track for the EIC accelerator program. That took some time, legislation, and regulation to take it. This is now done and ready. So I hope this is more than enough answer to you. And we are sister organizations. And don't ask me what I would envisage for the future, but I would envisage more than collaboration.
Yeah, that's super important to mention. Is that applicable, Jordanis, for all KICs of EIT? It doesn't matter which KIC you come from.
I will answer on particular possible. For instance, the fast track to be able to apply for the fast track. Yes, it is for all the KICs. 6 or 7 there from raw materials. So it required some documents to be prepared and to be signed, some regulation. So this is now a reality, regardless of this and regardless of the KIC.
Perfect. Then I think we can stop here. We're already 1 minute over. Thanks a lot, Jordanis, for your presentation. Thank you for taking the time and doing this. Please stay with us.
I will.
Yes, thank you. And I would like now to welcome Francesco and Marco Antonio. Welcome, Marco Antonio, as well.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. I hope everything is fine. We see already your presentation in full screen, so you can go ahead whenever you're ready.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. Can you see my slides?
You want to start?
Okay.
Yes. Yes, we see the slides in full screen.
Okay, so this is good. Let me start with the stopwatch. So we go to 20 minutes.
Perfect.
Good morning. Mark and me will share the slides. We are the 2 program managers. We work on the green technologies, as Danos said. Thanks for the invitation, to Christos, to the president and director for the invitation. Happy to see many people around here, and hopefully we will say good things. I hope that there should be also the EIC Greek board members, Vicky Kefalas, online now. So you have your board member inside EIC, and she is not only an experienced manager, but also an important part of the EIC. And as Christos said before, with Marco, we will try to repeat some concepts, not because Danos was not clear, but because we are speaking about a new agency, with the new role, the one of the program manager. So we will try to stick to the key contents of the EIC, that is, as Danos said, the only agency contemporary implementing and developing policies, because as we said, we do an yearly work program and we implement our projects not only from the bureaucratic and administrative point of view, but from the content point of view. And the program manager office is the EIC place where we discuss of contents with the projects. The funded projects mainly are in the deep tech funding, and so it means that we try to fund only breakthrough, so non-incremental technologies, deep tech. That means science-based, problem-solving oriented, and multidisciplinary. Okay, just to show, then I give the floor to Marco. These are the three main instruments, as Danos said: Pathfinder from TRL 1 to 4, transition, where only FET or Pathfinder or ERC proof of concept can apply. Pathfinder and transition are open to multi-beneficiaries, so partnerships. And we go in transition, it is exactly, we want to fund the transition from a proof of concept, so TRL 3 or 4, to the prototype. And at the end of the transition, we want to help to develop the final stage of exploitation of results. Then we go to the last call, that is accelerator. It's a mono-beneficiary open to only small, medium enterprises. In this case, while in Pathfinder and Transition, we fund grants, in Accelerator, we both fund grant and equity, because we manage as EIC also the first ever European Commission Venture Capitalist Fund, that is the EIC fund. Common, but then Marco will speak about this. We are in the line, the same line, Pathfinder Transition Accelerator, of having open and challenge-based calls. As program manager, we are responsible for the development of the challenges that then will be selected by member states and inter-service group inside European Commission, as Danos said. So these are the broad characteristics of the calls. Some numbers, as Danos said before, on EIC funded projects in Greece, you can see our numbers, the money allocated. This is a very easy slide to see where the focus of the money goes. And just to say that from what we learn the numbers are important, but as your colleague from ministries said, you have to increasing the number of funded projects in Accelerator. We didn't check the final numbers because we don't consider that it's relevant, but just to tell you that the success rate approximate of Pathfinder Transition Accelerator is in between 2 to 10%. So we are unfortunately really selective calls based on the success rate. But when speaking about in particular the last step of the innovation journey, so the accelerator, you have to consider that we really fund companies ready to scale up their technology, starting from a breakthrough deep tech innovation at the TRL 6, going grant or equity, but for the scaling up of the final step. When looking in the next slides at potential collaboration of your wonderful know-how inside computer science and your two units that are environmental and networking technologies and application unit on one side, and the sustainable development units on the other side, in the next slides, Marco and me will share some ideas we have in the different thematic portfolios where we work. I give you the floor, Marco.
Thank you, Francesco. I also thank very much all the organizer, Christos, and I was very happy to receive this invitation, in particular also because I see that Athena is particularly active in key areas and research areas that are well aligned also with our portfolios, that we will see in the next slides. And thanks also to the very, very exhaustive presentation of Danos that presented already very well the key role and novel role of program managers. So together with Francesco, we try to add something more, but mostly repeating some key concepts that are around this new role of the program manager. Basically, we try to see innovation, catalyze and facilitate development of innovation in different ways, using our knowledge, scientific credibility, expertise, and know-how, but also using key experts that we have in our networking to reinforce some intuition ideas about good potential trends, building a vision that is in a way facilitated by the fact that we have access to all projects funded at European level, and in particular, in fact, future emerging technology that now is Pathfinder, but also projects not funded that give us some nice picture of the research direction. This is the case, for instance, for the last challenge, Pathfinder challenge call on green hydrogen generation. We speak briefly later on, where we have a very exhaustive overview of research trends. We cannot fund all the 104 projects that are in most cases very, very good, but this is also useful for us to reinforce our vision and catalyze impact in our projects. So our role is of proactive management is divided, is composed by a policy and intelligence work. Intelligence work means studying, researching weak data from literature, from databases, from interaction with experts, to understand where research is going and to assist policy, to define where to allocate money. We can do this for our challenges, but also help other units, DGs. We are actively participating in co-creation groups in me and Francesco in about 3 clusters in Pillar 2, the energy, and the other 2 clusters, cluster 4 and 6, that are related to our topics. But also we can interact with projects and leading project in ERC, as Danos was mentioning before, also to build and reinforce our vision and select promising areas where to allocate budget. And then we try to foster, to introduce a culture of support instead of control in our project. So we want to help with this hands-on approach and proactive management our project to deliver at their best with a number of tools, facilitating the interaction among projects that have commonalities in the portfolio management, and selecting key action to give to our project access to infrastructures or to specific know-how or to culture of innovation, to transfer the basic fundamental research proposed in Pathfinder into business scaling up their ideas towards innovation, exactly with this culture of a scientist, entrepreneur, for instance, and other activities that are developed within EIC, where we actively collaborate in a transversal way with all the units, with the overarching aim to support and help our projects. And of course, networking with the whole innovation ecosystem is a key component of our work. Sometimes we have to be expert of who is who, trying to understand what are the best experts, communities, stakeholders that could help specific projects. Of course, we have a selection of projects. We cannot work on a huge number of projects. In order to be more effective in our work, we try to be selective, but the one key aim is to facilitate interaction, also using focus at scientific workshops, organizing seminars to facilitate brainstorming. There is another next slide, Francesco. Maybe we can briefly describe the guiding principle of challenges, already very well presented by Danos, but basically we start in Pathfinder from the need to define and select non-incremental research opportunities. So this is a key. We want to start from very low TRL, and this is all of course not very easy, because we cannot look only at market needs that are of course driving the research, but also at something that could be unexpected, that we have to select and discover fast in order to provide ad hoc support in the form of Pathfinder challenge, which is typically around 20 million euro to fund between 5 and 6 projects on average. This is what happens. In order to select these areas, we start from, can you go before, please, Francesco?
Marco, consider that we are 12 minutes. We only have
okay, so I'm going very fast. We look at the industrial interest and market needs from our side, and also needs of technological autonomy EU, and where EU is stronger in research. So we're at the very strong, clear signals of excellence in research in specific area where Europe is already competitive. We want to go in direction where we already have advantage in terms of scientific knowledge. And let's go on, Francesco. So next slide to we start okay, no, you jumped. Okay, no, that's yes, we started looking at literature for SI reports, interviews and interaction with experts, and also with project funded and not funded at EU level, in particular ERC, and also Pathfinder projects, in order to propose topics that are then discussed internally with the EAC board, and then with member states to propose then challenge topics, and also long-term report on vision of say hot topics where EAC wants to invest, that are not reflected in yearly challenges, but can be indication for future topics and future and hot topics of interest for research. Then, Francesco, we go on to look at quickly the portfolio of projects. Then we have some thematic portfolios that are composed by projects that we funded already, when joining EAC, funded within open and challenge call somehow, but they have some area, some topics of in common. In particular, they are differentiated by the challenge-based portfolio, because the challenge portfolio are coming on all from the same call, and so these are projects funded within the same challenge call, and they are built and funded with in mind already a potential collaboration, while thematic portfolio are collected by funded projects to find and maximize synergies. Of course, challenge portfolio are very connected with thematic portfolio, and so there are several interactions. We can add to the challenge portfolio some projects funded by Pathfinder Open that are very relevant for the challenge portfolio, and so we are quite ambitious here, because me and Francesco try to cover energy and environment, all topics of Green Deal, and so you see a very broad range of portfolio. In each portfolio we have number of projects, 5, 10, 11 projects, subdivided into sub portfolios, going on from hydrogen to energy storage, energy as solar energy conversion, energy harvesting and recovery, and this is a clear link with Athena, I guess. So one of the potential link, bio-inspired technology. Francesco, can you go before? Bio-inspired and nature-based chemical. Time is over? Okay.
15 minutes.
So
we have only 5 minutes. We have to show again 10 slides.
Okay, so and that's just to show that the environmental intelligence is particularly linked also to some hot areas where Athena has a project and interest. And then we have portfolio in accelerator, a bit differentiated by according to market needs and project that we classified. Go on, Francesco. You want to present? Okay, I quickly present the hydrogen portfolio, but here probably we can present something about the challenge, no? Yes, exactly. The topic of the challenge that we are now in the evaluation process is to fund a project, a very low TRL in the green hydrogen generation area, trying to compose a portfolio project in different thematic areas. So with key focus on use of non-critical raw materials, circularity, system integration. So we want to see very disruptive ideas, but with the potential to be to play a key role in the energy transition. And so we are exactly in the middle of this evaluation of more than 100 projects, with the target to produce proof of concept, lab scale validated technologies for green hydrogen production. Next slide. And here we our activities are not only focused on in hands-on, are focused only on development of innovation deals, for instance, for guarantee of origin of green hydrogen, which is development of a group working group in the Commission to address and overcome some key legislative issues to facilitate specific and enable specific innovation. It is the case for green hydrogen guarantee of origin. That is a key element to facilitate the development of the green hydrogen sector and the correspondent market. And we are active in networking and a number of interaction with venture capitalists, other EC funded project. We organized the EC Summit exactly on the hydrogen storage technology and so on. But Francesco, I leave you the floor to conclude and to present the portfolio of solar energy technologies.
Thank you, Marco. So just to sum up the things, I show you an example of the solar energy conversion portfolio. And here we can see what we are doing with this portfolio. As Marco said, approximately 20 projects. We divided them thematically. So this has been a scientific activity from our group. It's not only Marco and Francesco, there are other colleagues working with us. Johannes and Ines that helped us in doing this job. They work with us. And so what we did is just to identify the main topics inside the solar energy conversion portfolio and make the meetings together with the project, trying this hands-on approach on the scientific point of view to work, for example, on the use of certain type of characterization of materials, certain type of development of devices, looking for new materials, trying to help the projects to connect with other projects that has got similar know-how. So just an example. We are not exclusively working with the EIC funded projects, but as Marco said, we are free to make collaborations with other Horizon Europe funded projects, but also with national and regional funded projects. So we are prone to receive collaborations on our portfolios to understand if potential future ideas might be developed between our funded projects and your funded projects. So when looking at these activities, as Marco said, this can be scientific, business-wise, so we can help connecting with corporates. We have to help projects to look at the market. As I said, deep tech is solving the problems. We have to look at the market, so we have to speak with the different value chain actors of the different technologies. And how to integrate our technologies inside the green energy system of the future, how to get the money to help the companies we fund or the partners, the research centers such as Athena, to make the best use of their research results. to look at how to get fundraising from the private side, from venture capitalists, for example, to link them and speak with the associations. Our ambitions are very high, and we would like really to create different wonderful hubs of researchers European-wide in order to increase the capability of Europe to create jobs inside green techs or green in the development of the green deals, ranging from different concepts. As Marco said, you see here repeated the concept of developing new materials for Green Deal without the use of critical raw materials, or as your group inside Athena on sustainable development units managed by Professor Conduri is working on circular economy. Here we have many projects, and circular economy can be an horizontal work around different projects and concepts. So we are prone to discuss also on the future challenges. So if some of you have got ideas, we are happy to receive your ideas or to discuss. We are doing our innovation intelligence job, we have our ideas, but we share our ideas with experts, and then we will work in order to identify which are the best challenges also on this side. So as just to conclude, we can see that we work also, as Marco said, with other pillars. In this case, Marco and me were part of the co-creation group of the Cluster 5. So we worked also in helping our colleagues from other DGs to develop the work programs for their work programs. And so just to understand that we are prone for the future and development of our community, not only from the scientific point of view, but also in order to help fundraising public as well as private money. So just to conclude and thank you and leave the floor to the questions, we are here open to discuss with you which can be the best use of your know-how, business side and scientific wise. So when, just to give you the last example, when speaking about the use of AI or the use of Earth satellites inside the Earth, we are funding, and some of them are Greek projects. One, it is, for example, just to name one, Ramones, it is inside the environmental intelligence topic. So the best use of technologies to get data for the environmental science and to use this data to make the best help for the achievement of the Green Deal. In this side, there is, in our opinion, a lot of potential collaboration with many Athena projects funded not only by EIC, but also by other entities, such as regional or national. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, both Francesco and Antonio. Also very important points, and I think I will highlight the point that you mentioned about the philosophy of not controlling projects, but trying to create a collaboration with other pillars as well and other Horizon projects. That's really important. We have some questions to go through, and I will start with the first one. The first question is, what are some examples of grant and equity percentages coming from the accelerator? What are the differences and benefits of using EIC over seeking venture capital backing?
Okay, just to give you an example, we do not have these numbers on our hands. So the first number I remember, if I'm not mistaken, was that the EIC fund has a budget of 800 million euros. So these are obviously the number I remember. Just to back up, and so this backup with private VCs is the concept of helping in fundraising from the private. So what is the good thing is the fact that the EIC fund, when giving equity, give you also a certain assurance of quality for private investing. So it is good when you apply for the equity to have a backup of a private VC, but for sure what we like to call the crowding in of more private funds is for sure a big advantage for the companies receiving the equity from EIC. So it's something like a label that you will be able to show to private investors. And for sure, there is a strong help from EIC to crowd in more private investors in the companies that receive the equity from EIC.
Would you say, Francesco, on this note, that it will make the program managers believe that there is more, feel more assured when a company or a project applying has actually a corporate venture capital or private venture capital backing them? Is that a plus? Is that a benefit?
Oh, the answer is yes, at all. The second answer is that we are not responsible for the evaluation of the projects. We are part of the panel, but we are not jury members. We do not give a vote in the accelerator. We have different roles in the evaluation of Pathfinder Transition Accelerator. In Accelerator, we help the panels, but we do not make the vote. For sure, to answer your question, Christos, yes. If a company arrives with a backup of a CVC or a VC, for sure it is much appreciated. I really don't know the last rules of equity in the 2022 work program, but the experience that I had, and Marco, and I think also Dano said in 2021 evaluation and panel committees, is that if there is a private VC backing up, it's much more than appreciated. It is really, really welcome.
Perfect. Thank you, Francesco.
Yeah, but I want to stress that also the point is from one side to try to facilitate and fund the best startup that have the highest innovation potential. And this is a specific role of EAC and the evaluator to recognize this. And then the blended finance and the equity has exactly the purpose to facilitate the crowding of further funding. So this is my key aim that we expect to de-risk their investment with money from the Commission, to let them get more money.
Thank you very much. The next question is, what happens if there is not a suitable program manager with the relevant experience? Or will the EAC hire one if there are enough proposals in the same subject, which probably is not addressed by your experience?
We are recruiting new program managers in a hot topics areas that are not covered, quantum technologies, for instance, digital, where we need people. So this is already in the plan. Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. The next question is, we are working on hydrogen fuel cells in Belgium. Are we eligible for Pathfinder?
Of course, yes. If you have breakthrough ideas and breakthrough research, yes, you are. You missed this challenge call on green hydrogen generation, but you are more than welcome to apply for the Pathfinder Open in the next months.
The next question is, can a large company apply to EAC Pathfinder by itself or via a consortium? For the challenge, you can apply alone. For the Open, you need 3 member states and 3 partners. For Pathfinder Challenge, you are allowed to apply even single participant.
I am not sure, Marco. Maybe also in the Open you can apply as a bono beneficiary. I'm not sure, but I would say that the right each year the work program might change. So for sure, look inside the work program because rules are different. And I mean.
For 21, for sure that was the rule. Now we see for this year. Let's wait for the work program.
I confirm what Marco just said. For this year, is as he said, is recommended only the Pathfinder to have 3 partners. The Open call, only for this year, of course. We'll see what happens next year.
Perfect. I can also jump in now with a question that I had in mind, probably relevant to this. The challenges that we see right now, they have been developed in 2021. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. Is there a plan to update them or have new challenges? And when is an estimation for that to happen?
Every year we produce our work program. This is a key peculiarity of the EAC, but also ERC. We release a work program every year with the calls for that year. So for this year, we probably will publish the work program in a few weeks, I think.
Okay, so very soon. Okay.
Yeah, just to say that, as Marco said, also ERC has got its yearly work program, but the main difference are the challenges. Obviously, being us innovation driven, the innovation goes. And every year there might be a new challenge. And so that is why we change every year the challenges.
Which may be, I don't think completely different, but probably complementary or updating with the latest trends in the topics that you want to address, right? Okay.
Yeah. Just only to tell you, Christos, this is what you said good for Pathfinder and Accelerator. Obviously, there is a strong difference when speaking about transition, because transition will be open only for FET and Pathfinder and for ERC proof of concept. So our challenges are surely driven by the innovation trends, but also from what we have in our funded EU projects.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. I can go to the next question, which is, can an SME submit as coordinator a proposal for Pathfinder, or should an RTO lead the proposal? If someone wants to answer this.
You want, Marco? I can.
No, I didn't understand. Sorry, if you can repeat. So.
Yes, can an SME submit as coordinator a proposal for Pathfinder, or should an RTO lead the proposal?
No. Also, as an SMI is eligible to submit a proposal for Pathfinder. Yes, it's quite unlikely. It's quite rare, because that's this is a kind of project with very, very low TRL, and it's not common to have a small medium enterprise, a startup that apply for this, but for challenge it is possible.
Mm-hmm. And also, when is the deadline for Pathfinder Open Call 2022?
There is not yet published the 22 work program, so we have no answer.
Okay. The next question is, what advice will you give when one is not sure whether to apply for Open Call or Challenge Call in the ESC Accelerator, as there is no detailed description of each challenge topic in the work program?
Yes, go ahead, Francesco, please.
Good question. This can be a personal answer for sure, might be different from Marco, Danos, and Francesco. So we give 3 answers, short answers. My advice is, it should be quite clear. And my advice is, I would strongly look at the challenge. If there is a challenge, I personally would apply for the challenge. If it is not clear and you are not sure, then apply to the open.
Mm-hmm. Someone else wants to add something?
Yes. The meaning of challenge within the accelerator is not the same as it is with Pathfinder. That's the important thing. If there is a relevance, as Francesco said, and let's say, for instance, now is Green Deal, and we want the emphasis there, and there is one big topic within it, is not as focused as you would see, as you would find the challenges elsewhere. The important thing, I would slightly prefer the challenge. It makes sense because it's more grouping, but I'd like to clarify, it's not the same rationale as when we talk grouping about challenges, where we have done a lot of work to narrow and find a niche area where we want breakthroughs. We are working, the EIC is working to get all this to the next level regarding accelerator and see how far we can go there with what we call the challenge approach. The important thing is what you said before, and my colleague said already, accelerator still gets 700 to 800 millions, is the locomotive of EIC, is really what is making the difference right now in terms of representation of really competitive companies worldwide. EIC will put 1.5 million, out of which 60% goes to accelerator every year for several years. Francesco said it, it's a label to be granted by EIC. And I'm trying also to add one comment to the previous questions that my colleagues covered very, very sufficiently, that yes, it's a label, and yes, we de-risk, but we never go, you want to bring other investors in, you don't want to be you don't want to be the majority, as you understand. You don't want, you want for the LPs, you want for the investors to take also responsibility and have a saying in it. Because all what we're targeting at the long run, the big picture, is to mobilize activity in certain areas and create autonomy.
Mm-hmm. Great, thank you very much. Jordanis, the next question is specifically for you, and it says, if you will have to give funding for a project focused on the detection of malaria, or for one focused in the detection of COVID. Which one would you give the funding for, considering that they are similarly disruptive technology?
Thank you for the question. I would definitely give it to malaria. The answer is very simple. Malaria still remains for many, many years the #1 killer in the developing world. Very few will know that. There has been extensive research by EMBL and many other institutions in the parasite and all the cycle and all that. Millions of people die in Africa and Asia. 2-3 big corporations have invested their lifetime in malaria, and very little has been some progress, of course, but not what we wanted to be. Actually, there is the famous Greek professor, former chairman of ERC, Kafatos, who led the research in malaria and Anopheles with many science papers, and he invested his lifetime on that. And that is exactly because of the importance of that thing. Sometimes when we think about the developed world, and of course we say cancer, cardiovascular, we forget what are the #1 in Africa and Asia. The last argument is why I wouldn't do COVID is because COVID right now it has, plenty, unbelievable, vast investments from foundations to organizations. So it's not the money that is missing.
Thank you, Jordanis. The next question is, when can we expect the publication of 2022 ERC work program?
Francesco is the publisher. He will
the silence will go over this discussion. We can only say that Danos, Enrique, Marco, and Francesco, we ended our job, correct me, colleagues, the 31st of October. Then it's not up to us.
Okay.
So we give our challenges with all details to the European member state the 31st of October. Then it's not up to us.
Yes, but I can add, Francesco, if I can, that the information that we also provide afterwards to all participants from the slides contains information, and if not, we can update it, where to find what and stay updated, how to stay updated, and all this. Myself, for example, I'm receiving the newsletters from EIC whenever they're published, and you actually get all this information. So it's very useful to do that.
Just only as a joke, but what Marco said is the truth. Every day should be published. We know that Monday there was another meeting. Maybe Michael Dritas was in the meeting as a Ministry of Development. They met the member states last Monday, so it should be, as Marco said, days or weeks. But it's almost ready. It's ready.
The next question is, could you please elaborate more on similarities and differences between ERC proof of concept and EIC schemes, Pathfinder and Transition?
Yeah, it's quite easy. ERC proof of concept is or was, I don't know if they will give it again, a scheme to get with 150k euros, so a really limited amount of money, the potential capability of an ERC grantee to develop a proof of concept. So this is the aim of the ERC proof of concept. Pathfinder is completely different. Pathfinder is an overall research project with the overall aim of developing a proof of concept. The budget is 15 times more. It is in between 2.5 and 4 or 5 million. There is a partnership. ERC proof of concept, it is only limited to one partner. So it's, I would not say, because ERC colleagues would not love me if I say this, but it is another world.
Great, thank you. I think the next question, we answered it already. So we'll go to the question after that. Anything on the Green Deal? That's the question. Anything on the Green Deal?
Yeah, we are here.
Anything.
Yeah, our challenges, Marco's and Francesco challenges, are fully aligned with the Green Deal. So all the EIC challenges must be aligned with the European Green Deal.
Perfect.
Well, not all, because there are on health, of course, they are aligned with the different policy targets, but for sure, our challenges for 22 will be fully aligned with Green Deal. So there will be challenges on Green Deal, and in any case, also in the open calls, all projects aligned with the target of Green Deal and Fit for 55 are in line with the broad strategies of Horizon, and so well accepted, and this is recognized.
Perfect, thank you.
Farm to fork, yeah. I saw something about farm to fork strategy.
Please go ahead. Go
Yes.
ahead, Mark.
So we have also projects related, a lot of accelerator projects strictly related to farm to fork strategy, so packaging, food packaging, or recovery of biomass wastes recovery and technology for biomaterials. So a lot related, enhances photosynthesis and plant physiology. We have a lot, in particular in accelerator, but something also in Pathfinder, in the umbrella of farm to fork.
Great, thank you.
Two quick answer. We cannot confirm the date of deadline because, as I said, I don't know how this lady can confirm because it is not published, so nobody can confirm the date. And the novel routes to green hydrogen, no, it will not be the same open again challenge. It has been the challenge of last year.
Great. I don't see any other question. I would like to ask the rest of the panel if there is a question from Mr. Richards or Mr. Emiris or a comment at this point.
I would like to have I would like to ask a question more on the historical perspective of how EIC came to cover the whole spectrum from, let's say, applicable research to innovation. I understand that in Horizon 2020, this has has included the FET open calls that used to exist in Horizon Europe. So I understand that, so as I said, EIC covers the range from applicable research to innovation. Do you see any trade-off between the two? So you already mentioned, for instance, that the accelerator program is the main thrust. It has up to 8 million. Do you expect this to change? Do you see that it was a successful choice? Do you see any challenges regarding the trade-off between, let's say, the more research-oriented and the more innovation-oriented parts of the program? Because I understand it has the 3 pillars that you discussed. It has all the different actions. How do you see this balance? Is it going to be maintained? Is it going to be changed? That's my question.
Who wants to go first?
I think I can just say that a key peculiarity of EIC is exactly to explore the whole innovation journey, going from fundamental breakthrough research to innovation to startups. So this is typical a characteristic of EIC, and of course, I believe that these 3 different programs will stay. And now, if the question is about the allocation of money to each of them, this is yes, can be discussed more, and probably Danos can say something. But I think that at the moment, I just would add a higher share to challenges in comparison to open, in order to give more influence of scientific innovation and provide more direction to research and to strategic research at EU level. But regarding this allocation of accelerator Pathfinder, I don't know, at the moment, it could be a bit unbalanced towards accelerator, maybe a lot on accelerator, but this can be, you know, at the moment can be accepted. Danos, please, I'm sure
No, I share your view. First of all, I have to say this is a great question, Professor Emiris. This is really a key question. Thanks for asking. Part of it is what's happening, and part of it, of course, is a personal view, because we're talking about the future. The key point, one key point that I see giving us the opportunity is that it's part of the role of the program manager to propose directions, not only technological divisions, but also to play a role in forming strategies, and forming trends, and in a more technocratic way, if you want, to see those things. Not always following balances, political messages, but policy-driven. But this time, policy-driven based on scientific knowledge and technology. That is why I consider your question as a key. We want to have consistency, meaning the important thing is that you can take a project from very early on through the different instruments and bring it in the deep tech based market for Europe and contribute to what we call technological autonomy, which is key. We know the cabinets, they say that it comes from the president of the European Union. We all know this is a priority. So we just need to implement it. So we need very sophisticated approach for that. EIC, in my opinion, needs to be proven yet, has all the good things, has the potential to become the most effective catalyst of breakthrough innovation or breakthrough research to disruptive innovation. This is not words. This is happening slowly but surely. This is not easy, but it brings us many other aspects. Potential overlaps with other organizations, as you said. Yes, we inherited and we integrated FET Open and FET Proactive. We inherited that. This is not enough to make them work to their best, as you said very correctly. We need to prove that. The fact that you inherit a component because it was in a different agency doesn't mean that we have to show that it works better our way. So our way, I mean EIC way, of course. And now the program managers and the transitions are two novelties, but there are three yet under experimentation. We very much count on the board, Vicky Kefalais here and other members, knowing, as we know, we come from the outside world. Please remember that. We come from the outside world. We just joined the EIC to bring our experience from the outside world. So it's not an easy life for us, as you can understand. We want to bring the outside inside. We don't see the world as a civil servant would see it, and this is a constant fight to get it to the direction that would serve, that we need to go based on technology, based on so it's not important, to conclude, it's not important if we integrate the FET Open, is what we do. Do we keep the consistency? And the last point is exactly what Marco said. I left it for the end. I think it's very, very important. As a personal view, I would see EIC, contrary to beliefs of many people, that it has to go very targeted. This time, yes, because you have the program managers and you have all the networks of the program managers and all the networks of the program managers. No other organization, to my knowledge, has that. Yes, it remains to be tested. Targeted means more challenges, as Marco said, and Francesco. More challenges means more strategic work, the same way that, let me give an example, AstraZeneca or Merck would do it for the next vaccines concerning the world. So you can't play with that. If you don't want to go that way, you decide to go the way to bring a directive every single time because something is trendy, because something is, without the chances of it. So targeted and more targeted, I would say. Whether it's going to happen or not, you understand, remains to be seen.
Just to add on top of what my colleague said, please remember that our ambitious goal is to bring the content inside the EIC. And so what Danos said, the challenges, means the big step of European Commission to give its network the possibility to work content-wise. In innovation management, there is a huge difference between grant-giving agency, that is everything in Europe. I give you the money, I take care of bureaucracy. Yeah, I can help you, but I give you the money and I monitor you, as Christos said. This is regional agency, mainly national agency, mainly European Commission. We want to be different. We want to be what is called hands-on agency. That means we have an office inside the EIC, it is the program manager one, that do not care of the monitoring and bureaucracy. We work on the content in two ways, with the ongoing projects and defining the future challenges. It's easy to understand to all the listeners. That's a huge step different. So there is behind this, there is the politicians need to understand that we are not speaking about politics. We are speaking about content. Let the scientists, the innovators, the entrepreneurs, the financial guys work on content. Do you accept this? That will be the answer and we will answer, not before. We will already have gone away our role, because we will stay here for a few years and you will see the results in the next 5 to 10 years. It's a long process, but we are here to fight, as Danos said, because we bring our knowledge from outside to inside.
Right.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that was a good answer. A full answer, I should say.
Great, thanks a lot, and for the energy. I think we're already over time, but I will like to ask if Michalis has a last question or comment, Mr. Dritsas.
I see is partially frozen now.
Yeah.
I see.
Think,
in the
yeah.
meantime, he might reconnect. There is a question. Does this mean the real innovation-driven path? That's a good question. It should be answered by Danos because it's easy to say in your native language. Frankly speaking, we do not drive, we do not steer, in my opinion. We facilitate the ongoing projects. That's our role. We are no more scientists or entrepreneurs. We are here as intermediary of knowledge to intermediate the knowledge and to make the best use of it. Then this is on the ongoing projects. On the challenges, it's another issue. There we are the drivers, but the ongoing, we are the facilitators. This is how I every morning wake up at 7 a.m. and start working.
We are, yes, correct, Francesco. We are creative facilitators because I don't particularly like the word facilitator. We do more than that. You do more than that, Francesco. When we say creative facilitators, it means when you group a project with others together to work together and exchange, or when you read about the project, not perhaps the details, but you position your projects on the European map in a certain area, and you try to think whether this is competitive enough, what else is happening out there. You can't do that on your own. You have other experts. But this is already part of innovation intelligence or strategic intelligence, one level, if you want. What Francesco just said, and I'm fully supporting, is that this is the activity with the projects ad hoc on individual basis. We may want to see from a different point of view, strategic positioning of the project, give our opinion. We may want to bring some of our contacts for them, or we may even sometimes assign this, we forget our role and get into that, whether depending how close we are. Or we recommend it to speak to another company because we've known that this program has a research program. This is not just matchmaking or facilitation. It's much more than that. It's the same thing that the early business development or innovation department in a big corporation would do and would try to excel for the new project. But when we get the challenges, as Francesco said, this is absolutely our creation from the beginning. This is really a choice. And as I said before, if you ask me, I would say more targeted funding. When we were researchers, people used to ask, is it applied or basic research? A technical dilemma that was proven over the years. It doesn't matter if it's basic or applied. It has to be useful and connected. That's what you want. In this case now, innovation is the same. The instruments, they want to connect the innovation process in Europe. And we want to infuse there new technologies with disruptive potential, despite sometimes a lot of criticism or other beliefs. We want to sign under the challenges that you need to go this or that there. And we are very ready, we are exposed, and we said we have this debate. We want to sign that certain areas, in our opinion, is the future for Europe. How do you do that? Huh? You take the risk and you need to provide all the backup. If we don't do that, we will remain to the same thing, like political balances and let's please everybody. This way has not worked for Europe.
Yeah, also because let me add that on challenges, it is clear our role. On the other side, it is an open role. And on the EIC side, Pathfinder and Transition, EIC is really in the driving seat. When you speak about grant for the accelerator, once again, when you speak about equity, you will see that the EIC fund is a good dish for other. And so you will see in the next days, hopefully, if they will give EIC the driving seat or this will be shared. It is an ongoing discussion where we are only obviously observers. You can read it on Science, Business, and in many other innovation journals. Obviously, I am in European Commission functional, so I can say nothing more, but you can read everywhere that this is under discussion. And I really understand why, as Danos said, because it's not easy when you go closer to the market, because accelerator is closer to the market, to see in the driving seat the EIC that is also driving the previous steps of the innovation journey. This could be, from the innovation policy side, seen as a too big seat for the EIC. Always remember that we are not a DG. We are anyway an executive agency. So that we are a different executive agency, but we have been entitled of this. And so this is a political, unfortunately, Mr. Dritas is not in, but I'm sure he knows things much more than Danos and me and Marco. But this is a different issue where the public money can really follow all the innovation journey. Is it right or not that it follows always the same driving seat of EIC? I don't know. This is a question for Mr. Dritas. It's not my job.
We will try to answer it in the near future.
I just wanted to say that for me, it's the first time that Mr. Dritas, Michalis Dritas is here, and that says something. Usually people representing cabinets or governments, they come for a few minutes, and the fact that he has stayed here for the entire, and I think it sends a signal of, genuine interest and focus on innovation. That is my humble understanding here.
I fully agree, Danos. I fully agree. Thank you very much, Mr. Dritas. I can
Thank you.
Humbly say that if each member states would allow the EIC to explain what we are doing, it would be really useful for them. Obviously also for us, but for them in particular. Because what we are trying to do, let me repeat this, and I promise I will shut up as Danos, I am too energetic, but let me repeat that we started with a copy and beginning of paste of US system, DARPA or ARPA-E, but we are here to develop the EIC style.
Yeah, that's it.
And we will do this with God blessing or without God blessing. Program managers and all the new board will really create a new model for the EIC. Because Europe is not US and US is not Europe. We have to fully be aware of this. As Danos said, never forget that the ecosystem, I always discuss with my colleagues, marine biologists, because they hate me when I use the term ecosystem, because ecosystem is for biology, not for innovation. But it's clear, it's a good communication word. We have really to develop ecosystems. We can call them scarce or dense ecosystem. I don't want to bore you. I studied too many times this theory. But in practice, Danos can influence and can help to drive an ecosystem. This is the role of the program managers. We are not leaders. We are creative facilitators, as Danos said. And you pay us to do this job, and we will do this if we can.
One of the things I learned today, it was clearly emphasized, is the targeted nature of the calls or of the projects that people want to see. This was maybe clear, but I think that it was today emphasized, and I agree that's the way to go. I agree that if we try to be horizontal and politically balanced, things do not advance. Of course, I had more questions more detailed questions, but I will keep one or two for the next meeting. Maybe we should have the meeting once a year or something. But okay, I think it's clear, and I understand that some of the things are not always clear on the calls. When one reads the printout of the announcement, well, at Athena we have the luck to have a good group of people that understand the jargon and can tell us what it's meant. But it's easier if we hear from you and we have the presentation. So I think it's very useful. I don't have any more questions because we are already
we're over time.
Over time, but I would like to emphasize that it was useful to hear from the people that run the show some of the elements that are always hard to understand.
Let me conclude saying that we are open to every kind of collaboration with Athena as well as all the other research centers. So never forget that we are here for you. We are not running the show. You are running the show. We are helping you to run the best show. So in terms of challenges, in terms of projects, I mean, I know quite well many projects of Professor Konduri or other events on environmental intelligence, on Danos topics. Never forget, we are here for you. So if you have ideas, maybe we could take us some hours, days to answer to your emails because we receive quite many mails, but we are open. And your idea, Professor Emeritus, to have a yearly or 6 monthly meeting, we are open. Eventually, we asked to Dr. Dritas, if you want, next time we can do the meeting with all the research centers on one side and on another side on the universities. We cannot create all these kind of connections, so you have to be proactive. We are here for you.
We will do so. We plan to do something larger, bigger, more extended. And, thank you very much for being ready to help us in this direction. Thank you very much indeed. I have to say goodbye because I have to join another panel. I'm sorry. Thank you very much for your constructive guidance and support to that end. Thank you.
Likewise.
Thank you. Thank you. Great. I think unfortunately this is a nice discussion and we have to leave it, unfortunately. But I think we have the ball started rolling already, so we have in the back of our mind to follow up in one way or another. I would like to thank again Francesco, Jordanis, and Marco for being here today, for the excellent presentations and the important messages to everyone, to increase the awareness and actually better understand for everyone what EIC is and what do you do, and your role, and all the different aspects. So I hope we created something today for more to increase the Greek participation in general. As we said at the beginning, it's not at a level that at an excellent level. So probably we did something today about that. Thanks a lot. Thank you also, Mr. Emiris, for your
thanks go to the colleagues that connected. The presentations were very lively, comprehensive, useful. So thanks again.
From my turn as well, thanks to both of you, Mr. Emiris and Vices, and please try to also help when questions are asked to the member states. Greece is quite weak in that. We want feedback from the Greek side for every time that the member states are asked. That would be a great thing to do. And also, quick comment is, yes, targeted. That's also my personal view, and targeted, as Francesco said, but also strategic intelligence. Please don't forget, we are building non-funding support. That is another cornerstone that we do like, and that's not easy with the current mentality. If the member states, in this case Greece, would send messages clear and loud that they're targeted. Of course, if you agree with that, and if the institutions agree with that, and that would be great. Send messages strong, because the opinion of the member states counts in all these aspects. How you go, what direction you take.
Thank you to everybody. Let us get the ball rolling, as Christos said. Remember that AI as well as Earth observation are, for the environment, in my opinion, one of the things where there is still to be deployed and exploited a lot of things. We also are starting a collaboration with ESA, so with the European Space Agency, and we see a lot of potential collaboration, not only on environment, but also on health, and Danos is working on this. So never forget that you are sitting on a lot of potential exploitation, and try to remember this.
Great, thank you very much again. I think we're good to close now. So have a good day, and thanks a lot, and we stay in touch, of course, with everyone.
Pleasure.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.